Hello, and welcome to Make It Stick. Let's jump a donkey. Let's plug this phone in so it doesn't die. There we go. Alright, here we go. I'm going to do flashcards. What are the three aspects of intelligence according to Sternberg? Practical, creative, and analytical. No. Practical, analytical, creative. Yeah, that's right. What are the 7 sections of Chapter 7 Increase Your Abilities? Brain training. Is IQ mutable? Brain training. Growth mindset. Deliberate practice. Practice like an expert. Practice like an expert. The takeaway. Neuroplasticity is IQ mutable. Brain training. Growth mindset. Deliberate practice. Memory cues. The takeaway. Okay, we just missed basically neuroplasticity, memory cues. All right. What did we read about yesterday? What did we read about yesterday, dude? Make it stick. We were in this section. Tips for teachers. Yes, tips for teachers. Okay. Okay, yeah. And we just got, so we finished up a few sections on tests for teachers. So teachers, students, effective study techniques like retrieval practice, spaced reps, interleave practice. Incorporate desirable difficulties and effective study techniques within your courses. And meaning like have exercises, games, review, whatever you're going to do, but incorporate desirable difficulties in them. And a good way to do that is incorporate low stakes quizzes often. Frequent low stakes quizzes. Provide practice tests for study materials. That's a great way for students to study. Be open and honest with your students as well, and explain them what desirable difficulties are, how they're included in the course, why they're important, why you included them, how they may feel. They may feel difficult. They may feel uncomfortable. That's a good sign. Good sign. That's a good sign. Then we started reading about this Mary something Betworth or something, biology professor. And she talks about how she incorporates the Bloom's taxonomy theory into her teaching. Bloom's taxonomy is a old school classic learning theory hierarchy of like levels of learning. The most basic is just knowledge. Again, I don't know if I fully subscribe to this. This is not part of this book because it's a book on evidence-based learning. This is a learning theory, so it really wouldn't be included without this. So I don't know why it's included, but they call it knowledge. It's like awareness of, you can answer true, false questions. You're aware of information. Knowledge and then conceptual understanding is a layer above that. That's deeper learning, better learning. Above that is analysis, I believe. Be able to analyze the information. So critically analyze, understand it, but critically like pick it apart. And okay. I know synthesize and evaluate are the last two. What was the middle one? I'm missing. 4 was, I don't know. 5 was synthesis, so being able to pull in connect this idea to other information. And then evaluation, I believe, I kind of see evaluation as like, they said it was like being able to evaluate statements through the lens of the information you've learned or the theories or concepts you've learned. That's what I've always said. It's analogous to something I've said. What I've called real learning is it physically changes the brain. It physically changes the way you see and interact with the world. It like updates your brain, your user interface, your brain interface. Okay. Yeah, I think that's everything. Just about. Oh. Just another Venus overboard. Avoid class, mass practice and class activities. All right, knowledge comprehension. Oh, application 3 is being able to apply that information. Then it's analyze and synthesize and evaluation. Okay. Be transparent. Mary Pat Wenderoth. All right. Trust the process, baby. You need to trust the process. Explain how some of these things can feel, and then you trust the process. All right, that's good. Let's jump back into reading some more of Mary Pat Wenderoth's stuff. I don't really care, to be honest. It's a story. It's anecdotal. I don't care about anecdotal evidence, but for sake of brevity and thoroughness, we're gonna finish this book out with all their stories and anecdotes. All right, I'll talk to you in a bit. All right, we just about finished up the section on Mary Pat Wenderoth, biology professor. So after reading that section, I will say she actually does have, it seems, a lot of good structure to her class. She sounds like a great teacher. I would love to take a class by her, or teachers like her. So they just discussed some of her methods for teaching. One of them was testing groups rather than study groups. Study groups emphasize one person that knows the most, basically just telling everyone else the stuff, and then everyone trying to memorize it. Testing group is much more about discussion and not using any textbook or anything, no sources, just questioning each other, trying to everyone come to the same conclusion. So that's great. At the end of every class, it's called free recall. You have to sit there. She makes the students sit there with a piece of paper and write as much as they can down for 10 minutes straight. It's going to be difficult. It's frustrating. That is really critical for that recall. She had a cool analogy for retrieval, like your mind being a forest. And when she asked a question in class, like every couple minutes or whatever, she doesn't allow her students to use their notes or notes or a textbook, because they've already got the information. She just talked about it. It's somewhere in there in your memory. Now you need to start figuring out how to get there in the forest. You got to make that first path. It's the hardest time, but the next time finding the path is easier, and connecting the path and everything. So, okay, here we go. Let me think. Testing group, free recall. Right after they do the free recall for 10 minutes, then they take that information and then compare it to their notes, and then they find what they forgot and then focus on that material for like studying or further retrieval. But it gets a higher priority. What else do we got? That's what I mean. Connecting that what I do is this. I like to talk more. I did the writing for a while, but I just think I can talk way more. I can get way more information retrieved in less time than writing out each word. But I did do writing as the retrieval free recall, but this is a free recall now. It's just talking. All right, let me think. What else do they do in that class? Occasionally they'll have like a paragraph, just in the middle of like at the end of the week, she'll ask a question, and you'll have to write a paragraph with no, notes, no textbook. So just a paragraph on a question. So more retrieval, more practice throughout the class. On top of that, every week they have to come the next week with like a synthesis paper, which includes a bunch of drawings and key ideas from the previous week. So synthesizing that information. So overall, and then Bloom's taxonomy. So on her exams and quizzes, she'll basically categorize what type of question it was, like what level it was, categorize the question with what level it was on the Bloom's taxonomy, and if it's more of a free open ended question, she'll like write multiple responses that demonstrate different levels on the Bloom's taxonomy. So overall, it's kind of like this system of teaching is more, it's called high structured versus low structured. High structured is like basically how much retrieval practice do you give, like how many quizzes do you give. So high structure is more quizzes, so more retrieval has stakes. So like basically just more questions throughout the year, more of them with lower stakes compared to low structure classes that have less exams, like just midterms or whatever that come for most of the grade, and high stakes, right? So the idea is that the more retrieval you give throughout and more structure you give throughout the meeting structure, more retrieval practice, more structure, more the more stakes, like consequential retrieval practice you give during a semester, that's more structured. That's just more structured. So the idea is that higher structure in the classroom leads to everyone improving, but especially the people with the lowest preparation coming in. It lifts all ships, but really it closes the gap. In these intro classes, intro science, intro biochem, physics, you have big disparities between the top students and the bottom students, and it closes that gap. And it's really great because a lot of people who are curious about science, interested in science, have the aptitudes and characteristics that would be good scientists. And I mean, that doesn't mean they have learned how to study well or be prepared for these difficult classes. So the high structure really helps them, allow them to pass these classes, learn the things they need to learn, develop the critical thinking skills in order to have a career in the fields that they are seeking to. So, all right, is that everything? All right, so overall, quizzes that have low stakes actually lead to better learning outcomes than quizzes that have no stakes. So I thought that's interesting. Makes sense to me. Summary sheet, free recall, testing groups, transparency. Oh, she also teaches her students about illusions of knowing, as well as the other things like testing effect, retrieval practice, growth mindset. Yeah, it's effective study techniques, spaced repetitions, forgetting curve, the big stuff, I'm sure. But yep, that's it for today. We officially have 20 pages left, so less than 20 pages, that is. Talk to you tomorrow. See you.